Welcome everyone. TheDailyWoo here as the recording of this Thursday, February 9th, 2023. Throwing a camera in your face at 7 a.m., 44 degrees outside after just waking up, taking a quick shower. Goes a little easier having the camera up in your face at this hour without being caffeinated yet, but that is going to change because everything gets a little better. With the Johnny number 5, I think Johnny number 5, Johnny, the nickname came in the second one. Number 5 is alive. And since he was alive, he was a living robot, maybe caffeine would have helped him too. Even though he was completely full of energy already. I have stayed overnight in the short circuit house, which is right behind me. In fact, you can see the light on in my window where I slumbered. And behind me, I'm standing on the iconic porch for the 1986 comedy classic, dare I say, Short Circuit. Look at this bridge. Oh man, what is my life right now? There are worse ways to awake than on a screen-used home in Astoria, Oregon, with an amazing view. Factually, even if this was not used in a movie, this is a great property. Look at this. The bridge going across. Obviously, Astoria is well known for a couple of other movies, including The Goonies, which I did yesterday. But another film that I hold near and dear to my heart, if not on par with the one I just mentioned, is this one, Short Circuit. And I'm going to give you a little tour of where I stayed, the house, at least some of the house, not all the house, not the interiors, a little bit of the interiors, but definitely a lot of the exteriors, while I consume a piping hot caffeinated beverage with number 5, which I just made in the Keurig inside there. It's early. Pardon my face at this hour. Join me, shall you? I'm excited. Yes, in fact, that is the very bridge that he parachutes off of. Chase pushing him down. There was some construction work. He launches off right off the side there and goes in the back of the food truck of Stephanie, whose home I am standing on the porch of. And they came up the side of this road, pulled into her parking spot. Number 5 is alive. One thing I will say, however, movie magic. I was expecting, well, not really, I didn't really research too much which way east and west was, but I was thinking possibly, because in the film, the sun rises right there. She shows number 5, the sun rising. But in fact, the sun is rising over there. So they tricked us, a little Hollywood trickery. And you'll notice there's one of these in the movie as well, except this has been replaced. In fact, a lot of work has gone into fixing the place up, but yet keeping it in a lot of ways how it was then. Towards the beginning of the movie, Beasley the dog is right up here on the top of this ledge. There was some firewood right here. I'll match a few things up as well. But this area here was used very, very prominently. Very prominently. And the homeowner's vehicle is over there as well. Now the windows have changed. In fact, quite a bit has changed, but a lot looks the same, including the banisters. Same design, same everything. Same front yard where number 5 realized and completely understood what disassemble means. No disassemble. Man, this is the last couple days. Goonies and Short Circuit. What the heck? My little 80s heart is pretty dang happy right now. In fact, from this angle, you can see number 5 in the window saying, come on in. So I'll go in there in a minute, but I just want to show some of the exteriors first. It's been repainted to resemble how it did in the movie when Stephanie owned it. Up on the side of this hill with a good overlook of the water. Really awesome. Really awesome. I can just picture him jumping up and down here, lands on the insect, crushes it. Put it back together, Stephanie. Reassemble. No, disassemble. It all happened right here. And it was a couple different ways they made number 5, including the robot, which from what I heard, what I was reading on, was one of the most expensive things about the film was the technology of the robot itself. And number 5 was 5 of a number of different prototype robots that Nova had created. And there's even some behind the scenes photos which I'll show. There's some photographs in the house I'm going to kind of show of Ali Sheedy was right here with number 5, and the cast was, or the crew was down here puppeteering him. Not to ruin the magic, but you know, a little behind the scenes. There's a lot of good stuff inside the house. And you can stay here. You can rent this out for the evening, which I did. Well worth it. Discovered that that was an ability to do that, so I did. But I don't think this shed was here then. However, the top portion of this roof can be seen multiple times. You know, this shingled, wood shingled roof. And around the back over here, seen quite a bit. Now anyone that hasn't seen the movie is probably thinking, what the heck are you showing? But if it's etched in your head like it is me, came out in '86, I would have been 14, no, I'd have been 12 years old, I was born in '74. All of this is kind of sacred ground for an '80s nerd like myself. In fact, number 5, Johnny 5, fell off right there, crushed down into a little structure that has been removed, but they have recreated the stairwell in the same spot. I mean, how dang awesome is that? I can see why they chose this location. Whoever the location scout manager was, chose really well with this view. So iconic from the film, where she's driving her food truck up the side, right over here, and her ex-boyfriend, who wasn't a nice guy at all. In fact, number 5 disassembled his sports car right over in that little area there. Not bad. Not bad, number 5. I don't know why I'm talking to a coffee cup, but yeah. I just have to soak it in for a moment while the morning starts to rear its head. This is a thing of beauty right here. It really is. I know there's a lot of 80s nerds out there, and I definitely fall into that category. Probably because it was a pivotal time in my life, you know, being 11 years old in '85, 12 years old in '86. You know, any entertainment I would soak in really kind of gets inside your head and becomes a part of you, especially when it's that era. Just kind of classic movies that you watch continually. I've probably seen this movie 100 times. Very bizarre to be standing here. This is where she was first introduced, where she thought he was an alien. Thought he was from another planet. Was thankful that they had chose her. She always knew they would choose her. But in reality, it was a government robot. But right in here is where her food truck was. In this very spot. And a lot of things have kind of changed. In fact, they built on a little awning, not an awning, but a little circular extenuation of the wall right there, which I'll show some behind the scenes photos of that. There was also a ramp right here, and these stairs have been replaced also. But the doors, windows, wraparound porch, all in the same spot. I see you there. I'm gonna come in, I'll be there in a second. I'll be there in a minute. Also want to point out the number in the movie is different than the number used in the film. Sometimes they do that. They'll change the number so it doesn't keep up continuity-wise. Right over where I just was, this is looking at a screen grab from the film. There's the Stephanie mobile snack shack. As it's pulling up, she had a makeshift animal shelter, like a little thing going on in the yard where she was taking in animals that needed care. And you can even see Beasley up there on the top of the roof, which is right behind me. I'm just picturing a little, when they're up here preparing to film, Ali Sheedy standing there with the guy that played her boyfriend, didn't become her ex-boyfriend because he was a mean guy. Beasley was right up here. Right about like that. Got some birds out here chirping and crowing. But there's the angle. Looks like it's the same railing and everything. If that's so, that's amazing. Or a really good job recreating it. I always like this kind of stuff with the little gutters and the railings and all that. But notice the one right there at the dog's foot, kind of coming down the side of the incline of the miniature roof. One similar or the same still there. Again, there were stacks of firewood right here. They have replaced these windows. And I think they even replaced the door around the back. Now there's a sliding door. Kind of funny now that I'm looking at this again. There was just a crow crowing, but there's a crow in the scene right over there. And now that I'm looking at it, I really do think that it is the same railing. I think it's the same railing. There's a new hotel down there too that wasn't there then. Okay, now that I'm looking at this a little closer, okay, the now owner has put the address 197, the fictional address, above that beware of dog sign. So the real address 3101, which showed, you see, robot peeking out through the window there. But 197 was the fictional address, and above the beware of dog sign, which was in the movie. And right over here was a ramp that has now been removed. And remember I was talking about the extended out windows over there? I'll show you what I mean. As shown here, so there's the beware dog sign, there's the extended out windows, and there's that ramp. Nice touch, adding the little things like that back. There's a little scuffle right over here. She has the bat, she launches the bat, and almost hits the lady that's right here. And you can see a donkey and a goat right here. This fence has been changed, and there were some hedges over there where that wooden fence is now. Quite a few animals in this yard then. All set decor. It goes along with the plot of the film. Even though the stairs have been replaced, you can see the sidewalk still looks the same down there. In fact, you can see where it comes out of the fence, loops around. There's a little grass area between this sidewalk that goes beside the side of the house and the stairs. That's still there, but it's been repaved over, as shown here. So original sidewalk. Coming down here, coming around here. This was grass, and this is where the ramp went down, and this is where that extended out fake facade window was. The mean boyfriend drives off. She picks herself up off the ground, goes back up this stairwell, and right here at the top was a cute little raccoon that she feeds. She kind of just leans over, feeds the raccoon right there with the camera kind of angled down like this. Wait a second. Is this the raccoon right here? Is that supposed to be the raccoon? Right there? Hello. Camera pans this way, follows both of them around the corner, past that wood pile, and shows Beasley up here on the roof, and leaps down into Allie, Sheedy, Stephanie's arms. Right there. Right off the roof. I love it. After she meets number 5, she brings him out on the porch to look at that sunset I was talking about. And I'm matching up the railing and all the little indentations and numbers. So you got like 7 of these little small pieces here leading up to the big banister. And that matches up in real time. So I think it might still be. Oh, there's a deer over there. Right down there is a deer. Look at that. Oh, and another deer. I was just standing in that exact spot to get an angle of the house from across the hill there. There's a little deer. What a beautiful area. I think that might be the youth, and then the mom, or the parent, was the one I just showed. Kind of leading them on. But back to my point here, if you count these, you know, from the end, This is what I'm talking about. There were 7 of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then the 7th one is the bigger banister. So they had a crane here, or they had like a elevated area where they had the camera on showing all this. And they were admiring the sunrise, which does not happen there. Movie trickery. They got me. They totally got me. Really gone the extra mile here with little details, including the windmill, because there was a windmill in this spot as well. Now what I'm starting to think is there is a sliding glass door back here, but if you watch that scene when he goes over the edge, he breaks through right here, there was another external facade that they built onto this. That's the only thing I can think is you can see the original building behind that when Beasley is startling number 5. You can kind of see this, it kind of protrudes out. So maybe they built 2 extensions of fake facades on this. Notice the coloration of the original house there, and then that extension, and then this is where he busts through, and you can see how it kind of has a little jagged area there. That was down that revolving staircase. So really, wow. A garbage truck just dumped some stuff on. It had a crashing sound. I'm just picturing the robot crashing off right there, which would have been busted out right here. So they would have had to have destroyed this and replaced this after filming. As he laid down there, Stephanie, would have gone down this very, very quickly. Again, this has been replaced, but it was the same similar type of circular staircase. She looks down, the camera faces up at her, but that would have been her angle, looking at him down there. And this is also when she discovered that he was not an alien. In fact, he was a robot. And this also kind of proves my theory. You can see the extension of the fake facade they built on there as well, which would have been down the staircase, and you can even see the little wooden areas kind of holding the porch up. That extension would have been off right about there where those other cars are parked in the next property over. She then goes over and gets the phone and calls to report that she had found him. It was underneath here. Underneath the porch itself. This is a view from underneath the porch where all the action happened, right up there. Well, not all of it, but a lot of it. There's a pin for the geese. There's the roof line I was talking about in the distance. You can see the corner of the porch when he's hopping along right here in the front yard. Again, that shed I do not believe was in any of the scenes. Probably built there. Judging by the look of it, it probably was built there shortly after, in the probably mid to late 80s also. Reassemble. Reassemble. Disassemble. No, disassemble. Again, that window there has been replaced. The bottom window used to be kind of 2 windows side by side, and now it's just a newer window. I don't do the best impression of him, but you get the idea. I feel like this isn't even real, that I'm standing here. Going to movie locations is such a weird vibe, especially when it's something you've seen so many times. He learns to drive really quick by reading the instruction manuals and drives her food truck up the side of the hill. I wanted to see if this little garage is still up here, but the garage is gone. Would have been right where that truck is, and this is where the hedges were. In fact, you back out, there's a lot of foliage of what I just showed from the film. You see the bridge over there in the distance. That garage would have been right there. This is the side of the house, looking down into the yard. She's chasing her own snack shack, mobile food stand, but look at this view. Drives right down this way, and I see a fire hydrant I might be able to match up, because I think the camera was facing back up the hill this way too. I'm taking a little walk around the neighborhood. Yeah, I think that's the same fire hydrant. I think the little swervy road sign has been removed. I think that's the fire hydrant over there. Obviously, they were stepped way back and had a zoomed in lens to get that, but I believe that's the fire hydrant down the hill. The house is right up there around the corner. In fact, you can see part of it protruding over the hill line. When I showed that garage a minute ago, there's a little bit of structure from where that garage used to be. This is looking around the back of the house. What a view. I mean, even if this wasn't a movie house, what the heck, I would live here. Freaking beautiful. Now I'm just gonna pretty much put it out there that the interiors were not filmed in here. I can't confirm 100%, but when you watch the movie, it's a totally different layout than what is inside. Unless they did a complete overhaul inside, I'm gonna probably imagine that was on a soundstage. In fact, there's one scene where when they exit out the front and side doors, it doesn't even match up with the continuity of walking out the front and side doors here. Pretty sure it's a soundstage. But there are a couple times the front door is open and you can peek in and see some interiors, even though, in my opinion, the interiors were not inside there. Standing in the spot when the ex-boyfriend realizes that his car has been moved, which was right there. Number 5 has disassembled it. Standing right here, when the camera pans over, you can kind of see this little incline. And the car was over there. And the robot was in that little grassy area that has kind of grown over, where he had the sports car completely disassembled. Of course, this is looking from the porch, zoomed in. But more or less, right here. Classic scene when he's flipping the coin, acting like he was not happy they took his car apart, though. He was not happy at all. He comes running down the hill. Very angry. Another thing that's always noticeable when you get to a location, too, you realize just how steep things are. They don't really, I mean, I knew it was a hill, but this is really steep going down. I'm not sure if it really translates to camera too well, but this is almost like straight up the side of this hill to get to this home. I mean, to get that view, you got to go up, but yeah. Didn't realize it was quite this steep. I knew it was steep, but not this steep. Frankie, you broke the unwritten law. You ratted on your friends. You do that, your enemies don't respect you. Unbelievable that I'm standing here. What a beautiful day this is turning out to be. Look at this view. You can hear that car that went by me. The engine is really giving it some gas getting up that hill. All right, gonna go inside now. Kind of show a little bit of the inside. Not all of it, but show a little bit of it and show some of the stuff that's in here. Definitely has it themed out around Short Circuit, which I found really a nice touch. And even take away that, this is definitely a nice place, even without the film history. Permission to go in, sir. Oh, I should also mention, so you see this when Ali Sheedy opens this door, you see it very quickly because they don't use the interiors, but they show part, you could kind of see when the door's cracked. Let me close this. If the door's cracked like this, you can kind of see the banister in the background. It's only for a brief moment when she opens the door to, like, not want to say greet him, to give him a very, what are you doing here, creep, type of greeting. But you can kind of see the stairwell behind her a little bit if you slow it down and watch it closely. I just love all the little touches that are on here. And all through the home are photos just to kind of give you the vibe when you're staying here, but you know what you're looking at. Maybe if you haven't even seen the film, you would go, oh, there was a movie here that was filmed on the porch. As well as some viewing material. There's the Blu-ray here of Short Circuit, which I watched last night. Sat on the couch. You know, I have it etched in my head from many times seeing it before. But you kind of watch it when you're staying here. It's a when in Rome moment. Here's another nice touch here, which is out on the porch itself. She has the bat there, the ex-boyfriend. You can see the bridge. And it's in a nice correlation to where the actual spot is, looking out the window. So you got promotional material from the 80s, and you have the real spot at the house, out the window. This window was not here when they filmed it. This was actually completely enclosed wall. This window was, however, in fact, have kept this, which looks the same, these little slats across, but there was another bar that went right down the middle of the window here, I really like this piece of artwork too that was done. It's called Stephanie's by this artist. Jack Johnson, I believe. Yeah, Jack Johnson did that if I read that correctly. It's really great. And some more promotional material in a frame here. This is just up the road. These gas pumps are not there anymore, but I'll drive by there on the way out of town and show those. In fact, a lot of the movie was filmed elsewhere, 2 or 3 hours away. Another spot that's like 3 hours away. Some of it was even filmed in Southern California, a couple scenes, which kind of looked like the area that maybe Dukes of Hazzard, the later seasons, was filmed in. There's some scenes there, and then also Vasquez Rocks, which, of course, the famous Star Trek Gorn episode. But a good percentage, you know, a few things were filmed, including the house. A lot happened at the house, which is shown there. Quite the cavalcade of good stuff. This is great. So there's the interiors here. This is the dancing scene. And evidently the director that directed this, they did a spoof on Saturday Night Fever. He also directed Saturday Night Fever. So it was kind of a nice correlation. But a lot of artifacts here as well here in this case, including a catering list. Garbage Pail Kids, like a spoof on Johnny Number 5. Of course, on the soundtrack, Who's Johnny? Classic. Oh, look at this. Here's a little behind the scenes photo of the house back then. Even some playing cards, some glasses. Oh, wow. Look at that. How did I not notice this till now? It's a number 5 right there. Evidently, there was a Stephanie Pale Ale that came out also. It's just so great. I love the 80s. Love it. Oh, here's a piece of the... This might be an original piece of the banister in here. That's what I'm guessing that is. No disassemble. I'm just going to utilize this for a moment just to show where number 5 is alive. Would have been. In fact, I might even go over here and get him in the frame of the angle here. Stephanie. This is so awesome. I wonder where you could get this. Where you bought this or made it. Walking back inside now, showing this angle. Again, everything kind of correlated into the same spot here as shown. In fact, you're getting a reflection of the outside and showing what it looked like when they filmed it in the mid-80s. Same angle. And this is what I was talking about here, how they're like on a little crane up there beside the porch. Right over there. Pretty awesome that there are 2 famous 80s filming houses in Astoria that are now owned by people who really love the films. Goonies house has just been rebought, and also, a lesser known little secret, the Short Circuit home. And by staying here, also was given this, a piece of Stephanie's house, for maybe part of the original section of it, maybe part of what they extended out. Nonetheless, a nice little gift. It was a little over $200 a night to stay here, which I think is one heck of a good deal. You know, considering a regular hotel would only probably be $50, $70 less than that. Worth it. At the top of the hill, well, top of the staircase, I should say, on the 2nd floor, something wonderful has happened. Number 5 is alive. Life is not a malfunction. This is the top of the stairs, 2nd floor. Looking up. And here's a little more behind the scenes photos. Ali Sheedy there, the director. Here's them in the front yard. You can see it's like being utilized like a puppet. So cool. Also, these postcards are a nice touch also. Hello from Stephanie's house. Stephanie. That's where he's diving in off the bridge with the parachute on. Nice little touches all through the home. Even a washer and dryer in here. And look at this promotional photo here. There's Gutenberg and Sheedy think I've ever seen this one before. Look at this. This is all the different numbers, not just number 5. There was a bunch of them. He was the only one that was alive, though. The rest of them were just regular robots. There they are dancing. Great. When it's called the Short Circuit House, that's a fitting name because this is full on short circuit. A lot of behind the scenes stuff. Kind of all scattered around through. This is them on the front porch here. This is all at the house that I stayed in. That is a great photo. Just like when people who own houses embrace all this type of stuff. Sometimes you go to screen use spots and the owners really do not want you there. This is a whole different story. Look at this guy wearing a Clash shirt on the crew. Yeah, so here's the extension. See, they built onto this. Isn't that neat? This was all built on, like a facade onto the real house to give it a different vibe. Here's some of the animals. It was like a boat. I don't remember seeing that, but I guess it was in the film, right in the side yard there. This is awesome. All these behind the scenes photos. Of course, Goonies also here. And real quick, like while heading out, this is why I don't think the interiors were filmed in here. The living room, much too small for that dancing sequence. Sun is fully up now. One last look. Oh, a bluebird just went by. One last look at the house and the iconic porch before heading out. I'm gonna show a couple spots on the way out of town as well. Driving back over towards the Tacoma, Seattle area today. I spent yesterday and last night and into this morning in Astoria, Oregon. Did 2 of my favorite 80s films, Goonies yesterday, and then today, checking out of the Short Circuit House. I really like they rebuilt this. It's awesome. This whole area is just so great. Stayed up in that room, and to be honest, this would be a great place to stay even without the movie connection. It really would. Just don't fall off the banister like Johnny number 5 did. Right down there. Disassemble. One last walk through the yard. I would stay here again. You never know if I come back to Astoria. It's a possibility. But I highly recommend this place. You can rent it for the evening or for even for a couple of days. All you gotta do is just see if it's available. Pretty easy to figure out if you're savvy on online. Love it. Okay, on the way out, this is interesting. I just noticed this. So the original fence that was here, I was watching some of the scenes again this morning. Well, last night I watched the Blu-ray, but then this morning I was matching stuff up. This might be part of the original fence, and he's placed this here and wrapped it around. Because it was a chain link, but it also connected these wooden pillars. Well, not wooden pillars, but these wooden pieces that connected to the fence. This is probably part of the original screen use fence. I love that. All right, see you later, Short Circuit House. You served me well. Wanted to show the spot where he comes parachuting down off the bridge. Right up there, there was some construction. In fact, you can see this little sculpture over here was seen 1 or 2 occasions during some chase scenes, I think later, like up the hill. This hotel was not here. And this building has been completely repainted and redone. But yeah, it kind of still looks the same. It used to be a used car lot. You see those concrete pylons, robot parachuting down. There's even an angle looking down at the road. Now there's a rental car place where the car lot used to be. It would have went right off here. You can see all this. There's Johnny 5. He's kind of going around like this. I'm waving the camera around because that's what they did. Kind of waved the camera around like to and fro. And then he landed here. The back of the food truck, Stephanie's car went that way and turned right there. up that corner. Looks as if the top portion of this building has been redone, but turns the corner, the stop sign's over there. But they have completely redone this building since the mid-80s when they filmed it. Turns that corner, goes up the hill, right there. Then coming back down the hill, the Federal Credit Union building still looks the same as well, except it's no longer used as a bank anymore. There's a mural on the side, but you see the windows and everything still match up. She comes down this hill in a rush and you see this statue here. She was trying to take the wheel from Johnny Five, who learned to drive and was driving the vehicle. And then of course Steve Guttenberg and Fisher Stevens, their characters were followed. The Fisher Stevens character. Pretty funny, but I don't think by today's standards, they probably wouldn't have that character today. It probably wouldn't have Fisher Stevens playing that role today. But for the 80s, that kind of made sense. It's a different time. Wouldn't you like to be a pepper too? Just reading off the Dr. Pepper advertisement right over here. It was kind of like an old, desolate building with some gas pumps right over in this area. As you can still see the poles there. Nothing really left, even though there is like a little structure. There's some rubble down here. Possibly that's part of the rubble. Oh, you know what? There's the dock, part of the dock. Right down there. There was also a dog barking. Fun fact, this was the motel. Another movie filmed right here called Kindergarten Cop, which I'm not going to be covering, because I will return here one day. There's a lot of other stuff around here, so I don't want to really go down that rabbit hole yet, but I do want to point out that, yeah, there's other movies here that I like that I'll have to return to do. But there's part of the dock. Holy cow, look at this. This is the spot where he was right here talking to the gas pumps. This is cool. There was like a boat that was up on shore, wedged on the shore right here, and you can still see it all matches up. Take a look at that. Pretty cool. Right here off the side of this road. It wasn't even in the best shape then, and now it's even in worse shape. In fact, they've bulldozed all of it. This is the spot, right across from the motel from the Arnold movie. In fact, when he's looking at the gas pumps and talking to them, you can see the houses up there on the side of the hill if you zoom in on them. It's the same houses that are in the distance. So the gas pumps would have been kind of like right over in this area. And you also see the bridge off in the distance over there. Not the same bridge you see from the house, a different bridge. That goes over to Seaside. In fact, when the security vehicle's driving down the road looking for him, you can see this very angle as the vehicle drives down the road, right next to where I'm standing. As shown here. Getting a view of it from back inside my rental car. And it was right after that scene that vehicle pushes him across the bridge. I feel like I need to drive across the bridge. I really do. That's an epic bridge. I'm looking as he's parachuting down. I think I found where the cross beams are. I gotta zoom in on it, but I can kind of see where he's parachuting down off the bridge. Would have been right where the main portion of the top ends. So we would have launched off right there. And that's more or less what I just showed. I'm also noticing I found an angle that you can see the short circuit house off in the distance over the construction worker's shoulder in one of the frames. For just a brief moment, far right corner, see it right up here on the hill. And what a coincidence, there was a ramp made of construction materials that he could go off of. Ah, you gotta love it. Why would that ramp be there going off the side of the bridge? Now I'm obviously not gonna be able to stop to match up anything, but it's basically right where the top portion of the bridge ends. That's where the construction area was. There's no one behind me either. This is it. Short circuit. Right there. it's on the other side, but a couple hundred yards. They're doing road work. Where's Johnny Five when you need him? What are the odds? Is there a ramp up here that a robot can fly off? Made it across the bridge, Astoria off on the other side of the lake. Not lake, river. Columbia River, I believe it is. Been calling a lot of things lakes lately that aren't lakes. Body of water. And gonna carry on, head back over. I'm now in Washington State again. This is the state line right here. So you got Oregon, Astoria over there, and now I'm back over in Washington State. So long, Astoria. I think there's an album called that. I think the Ataris wrote an album called So Long, Astoria. I should listen to that on the way back. And that's gonna do it for today. Turning into a beautiful day. I'll see you in the next video. The vlog is over.